Hello. My name is Anna Sullivan, and I am one of the peer support group facilitators at the DC Center. Um, I've been helping with the genderqueer and non-binary group for several years now, and the DC Center is a really wonderful place to be. We can get started with introductions now. Kimberly, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kimberly Bush, and I am the Interim Executive Director, as well as the Director of Arts and Cultural Programs at the DC Center. I throw the introduction to Rahana.
Thanks so much. I'm Rahana Mohammed. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the board chair of the DC Center. And I'm so excited to be here tonight talking about reopening because I'm thrilled that we're reopening. I've been on the board since 2018, I believe. And I just think that the center is such an important safe space in the DC area. So I'm thrilled that we're doing this. And I will pass it over to Jonathan.
Thank you, Kimberly. I'm Jonathan Gilad, he, him, and I'm the vice chair of the board of directors. And I've been on the board since 2015. And to echo Rahana, I am super excited for this town hall and for the reopening. Even though we've been open virtually for the last 18 months or so, but we're very excited to have this event tonight. And I will turn it over to Tiara.
Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Tiara Craig. My pronouns are she and her. I am the treasurer for the board of directors for the DC Center, and I've been a member of the board of directors since 2019. And I am also excited that the center will be reopening for physical guests soon. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to turn it back over to Anna.
Thank you.
I feel like we have a couple of more board members that should introduce themselves. Eddie and Jatarius.
Happy to go. Thank you, Kimberly. My name is Eddie Manchus. I am also on the board of the DC Center. Very happy to be here with everyone and super excited to talk about the reopening. As everyone has mentioned, the DC Center it's such a wonderful space for the community and provides such important services that getting back in person together and seeing all that come back to life is super exciting and important. And I'm happy to be here. So I'll turn it over to Jatarius.
You're muted, Jatarius.
Sorry, good evening, everyone. Jatarius Frazier here. My pronouns are he, him, and I have been a board member since the end of last year. And so I am excited that the center is going to be reopening, and I look forward to visiting the center as a current board member. So excited about the reopening and the town hall tonight. Thank you. I'm not sure if I hand it over to you.
Thank you all. The next piece that we have is to talk about what's been happening at the DC Center during the pandemic before we've been able to reopen. Kimberly, would you like to walk us through some things?
Sure, of course. Well, first of all, I'm really excited that the DC Center is such a safe and affirming place to provide care and support and resources in a very low barrier fashion, meaning anyone can walk in to the center and say they need X, Y, and Z. And there's always someone that's ready and welcoming that individual with kindness and a warm smile and meet them exactly where they're at to be able to provide them with the support and care that they need. So I'm really excited that we'll be able to get back to doing that work and being able to, just like I said, take care and provide the kindness and support that our LGBTQ siblings need. One of the many things that we've been able to do since we were closed in March of 2020, we were highly successful at pivoting all of our peer and support groups onto online platforms. And due to that virtual nature, we were not only able to continue with no break in opportunity of support, we were able to provide the supportive spaces, not only here in the DMV, but we were able to affect many more lives globally and nationally. So we find that we've been able to be very powerful and very supportive to other LGBTQ individuals all across the world. So we were able to pivot and do that. In July, we had our very first big fat gay yard sale, in which we were able to have outside of our center, racks and racks of clothing that's been donated over the course of several months. Shoes, undergarments, we were able to give away hygiene kits, safe sex kits. So yeah, that was an amazing event that we had. A lot of people came through and learned more about the center. And we were able to also give things away to some of our displaced siblings. So it was a really great event. So we did that as well. Streaming events. Oh my God, those were, obviously, off the chain. We Interfaith, we were able to stream an interfaith visual services as a part of DC Pride celebration. We were also able to partner with Rainbow History Project to showcase their important work. And just in general with Center Arts, we were able to take our actual physical art gallery that was in place at the time of the pandemic and actually turn it into a virtual art gallery. We were able to put our film festival, Real Affirmations, which is Washington, D.C.'s LGBTQ International Film Festival, completely virtually online, which was huge, as well as Outright, our literary annual LGBTQ festival. We were able to put that online as well. So those were extraordinary feats and very, again, impactful for our community to be able to access the arts even during the pandemic. One of the things that I was really very proud about is we were able to actually bring on 2 new members onto our small yet mighty team. We were able to bring on an individual who is our Center Aging Program Associate, and they provide support to our numerous older LGBTQ adult siblings in our community in terms of whether that's, virtual check-ins with them. We have our coffee and conversation as well, and tea times twice a week. We also do many artistic visual events with them. We also were able to, and this is really important and very impactful, to hire a second therapist for our mental health team. So that individual is able to make sure that our wait list is minimal, which with a lot of organizations in the community, wait list for mental health services is lengthy. And this individual also is bilingual. So we'll be able to better connect and provide mental health support services for our Latinx LGBTQ siblings. So just a few of the things that we were able to accomplish during the pandemic. And we're very proud and again, excited to be able to bring all that back into in-person.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing about all those great programs. So that's what's been going on pre-reopening. When are we expecting to begin the reopening process, and what will that look like?
Sure. Well, we do expect to reopen on October 4th, Monday, October 4th. And we will be returning with our regular hours, which is Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And on Saturdays, 11 to 3. We expect to have our cyber station socially distanced with 3 separate computers. So our cyber lounge, we call it, where we have computers where the community can come and use our computers looking for jobs, checking their email completely, in a safe space and free of charge. So we do expect to have those connected up. Our peer and support groups, we do expect that we will be able to offer hybrid options for our peer and support groups, depending on the comfort level of our members and our facilitators, starting on the 13th. So meetings will either be, either people will have the opportunity to sign up and limited number of individuals will be able to come into the center and actually be at the center and have the meeting while we are streaming it on a streaming on Zoom for those who do not want or cannot come in. So we'll be able to have a hybrid of our support services. Our mental health services at this point in time will remain virtual at this point in time, and we'll definitely keep the community updated about what that looks like in the future if that were to change. Our library and our lounge will have social distancing, meaning we will have fewer seats available, but we will be able to receive our community to be able to use those safe spaces. We do have a new and expanded clothing closet. So if anyone is in need of any type of clothing, shoes, jackets, you name it, any season, we do have a new clothing closet, and we do have our food pantry. So there will be the opportunity if anyone is in need of nutritional sustenance, we will have our food pantry. The art gallery is opening back up again, actually this Saturday, the 2nd, with a new artist that'll be installed for 3 months, Julian Bankin. He's a photographer. And so we will have a opening reception on Saturday, which unfortunately at this point in time is full to capacity because we do have a limited capacity, but their art will be up for the next 3 months. And so it can be seen at any given time during our office hours. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going to be happening, from here on in the future, unless anything changes.
This all sounds so incredibly exciting. There's so many wonderful things on the way. In order for the center to open up safely, there's going to be some mitigation efforts in place to keep everybody, to manage the risk. Tiara, could you tell us some more about that?
Sure. Thank you, Anna. And yes, and Kimberly's created all the excitement about all the great things that are to come with the reopening and a new art installation and things. And I have to be the bearer of the serious news about our mitigation efforts to ensure that everyone stays safe while at the DC Center. So we are closely monitoring all of the information that comes from our federal and municipal health agencies to ensure that we're giving our employees and constituents the most recent and effective information possible. With that, we're going to implement self-screenings, which means we'll ask the questions that you normally hear, your fever, have you been feeling sick, those types of questions. Also, in accordance to DC law, all staff is required to be vaccinated, but we are not going to be asking for proof of vaccination or recent tests from community members. As Kimberly stated, we'll be practicing social distancing and mandating 100% mask while in the center. Kimberly also mentioned the hybrid peer support group options. This is for accessibility purposes. We want to make sure that those who aren't feeling well but want to participate in the peer support groups don't feel obligated to come into the center. Additionally, in accordance to CDC guidelines, we will be implementing contact tracing. Our sign-in sheets are mandatory for all who want to visit the center, and everyone will need to fill out their name, phone numbers, and or email address. And this is just for safety purposes. So we have thought out, our team has worked tirelessly to plan out our mitigation efforts to ensure that everyone, employees and visitors, stay safe while at the DC Center.
Thank you for explaining. It sounds like there's been a lot of planning put into place to try and get everything ready. For those in our community who are really excited about the center opening up again, what kinds of opportunities are available for people to get involved? Rahana, can you share some ways?
Yeah, absolutely. So now is a great time to re-engage with the center. If you've been kind of following us on social media and haven't been in recently or haven't checked us out, now is a great time to reconnect, and we're looking forward to reconnecting with those of you that we haven't been in touch with during the pandemic. So the best way to stay up to date on everything that's going on at the center is to subscribe to our newsletter. You can do that on our website. that comes out every week and includes everything that's going on at the center, as well as volunteer opportunities, information about art installations, the programming that's happening that month, and all of our different accounts where you can follow us and get updates. So the newsletter is really the best place to go. It has a wealth of information, and I really encourage anyone watching this or tuning in right now to make sure that you're subscribed to that. You can also volunteer. Anna, who's facilitating and moderating this session tonight, is a volunteer facilitator for one of our support groups. That could be you. So if you're currently participating in one of the peer support groups and are interested in facilitating, don't worry, we provide awesome training for facilitators, and just let us know if you're interested in doing that. Or now's a great time to check out the peer and support groups that we offer and think about joining. It's a great way to stay connected to the center and connect with others in the community. If events are more your thing, we have a volunteer list that we send things to when we need volunteers. We had volunteers helping us with the yard sale, any event that we do with preparing us to open up. Those were all volunteers that we called on from that list of folks. So definitely reach out to us to get added to that list and stay up to date on ways to get involved and help out. We also, pretty much any event that we do requires volunteers from the community. And so again, we go to that list and have people volunteer and plug into those. And I, wouldn't be a good board chair if I didn't make the plug, but if you're watching this, if you're joining right now, please, please, please donate to the DC Center. We have a lot of awesome programs coming up that Kimberly mentioned, and we've also been doing all of this work throughout the pandemic and providing these critical services. So now is a fantastic time to donate to the center. If you are already donating, thank you so much. But now's a good time to dig deeper into those pockets. And an easy way to donate to the center is to specify that you want your Amazon Smile donations to go to the DC Center, and that's now available on the Amazon app. If that's where, like me, you buy most of your stuff on Amazon, take a look at the app and make sure the DC Center is the beneficiary there. And as Kimberly mentioned, we have a food pantry, and we're currently working on replenishing that food pantry right now. So if you have canned goods, please drop those off at the center. That's super helpful to make sure that we can, provide that food to folks that come in and need that assistance. Another way to volunteer that I forgot to mention, but if you're interested in being a board member, please reach out to us. If you've been involved with the center and have a connection to the center or to just the LGBTQ community in DC, we'd love to talk to you more about joining a board committee, getting more familiar with how the board works, and how to become a board member. So I will stop there, but as you can see, lots of ways to get involved in our work and stay up to date. So I'll pass it back to you, Anna.
Thank you. Sounds like there's a lot of different ways to get involved. It sounds like the newsletter is a wonderful place to go to find out what's going on. Jonathan, can you tell us about what people can hope to find on our website?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thank you, Anna. So obviously, with everything virtual, we've paid extra attention to our website. So be sure to check out thedccenter.org. And there is our one-stop shop for all of our information. So if you wanted to know more about our reopening hours, since some of those hours may have changed due to COVID, and just to help out with some social distancing. So please check out our website to find out about our reopening hours. We also have an FAQ there where you can see some more answers about what we are doing to keep our community safe, and our team members at the center safe as well. So please, I encourage you to go there. I, for one, am a huge fan of slideshows, so there's a few of those on the website, which you can go through and see all the fun things happening. And also during this time, we do recognize that there are some folks who are in need of assistance. And so there are two resources that I really wanted to just highlight right now. One of them is Stay DC through the DC government. And that is a program to help folks make sure they're able to stay in their homes, if it's paying utilities, et cetera. So please take a look at the resources on our page for that, as well as OTA, which is also doing some more help with evictions and helping people stay in their homes. So those Stay DC and OTA, you can also call our help desk, which is is staffed on during our open hours. So if you have any questions or you want to leave a voicemail or email, those are also great ways to reach us even during our non-staffed hours, and one of our team members can get back to you. So once again, the dccenter.org, and it has all the information you'll need to let you know everything about the LGBT community in DC.
Thank you. And what does OTA stand for, please?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. So I'm going to pass that question over to
Office
Kimberly.
of Tenant Advocacy.
Okay, thank you.
And they're actually in the building that we are in. I don't know the floor exactly they are in, but they are the Office of Tenant Advocacy and will help anyone with assistance in regards to eviction, tenant rights, things of that nature. So they are located at 2000 14th Street Northwest. I just don't recall the exact floor.
And I do know that that's also on the website, the name of OTA.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Kimberly. So it looks like next we're going to be getting into questions. Some questions were submitted ahead of time. Other questions are being submitted now via the Facebook and YouTube streams. So the first question we have is, if the DC Center is notified that someone who has been in the center has tested positive for COVID, what will happen then?
So what our plans and our protocol will be is to immediately close the center and then notify anyone who has been in the center 3 or 4 days on either end of when that person has been there, and notify them, of course, anonymously of what has happened, and obviously clearly follow the CDC guidelines around that in terms of the conversation. The center will be closed. All team members, of course, will be needing to be tested. We will immediately engage the company that we do have on retainer for COVID remediation services, cleaning services, and immediately have them come and do a deep COVID cleaning of the entire center. And the center will not open back up again until that cleaning happens. And as long as all team members are able to provide a negative PCR test, then team members can come back in and we can reopen back up again.
Okay, wonderful. It's great to hear that there's a plan in place if this happens. Hopefully it won't happen. Another question we have that hopefully won't happen is, if rates of COVID rise within DC, what will happen then? Is there a plan for what will happen with the center remaining open?
As we stated previously in our mitigation efforts, we will closely monitor the guidelines of our federal and local DC government guidelines. And if the COVID rates are to rise in our area and the recommendation is to close the center to the public, we will adhere to those guidelines to ensure, again, the safety of our employees and our center constituents.
Wonderful, thank you. Let me see what our next question is.
Anna, while you're fielding the questions from our Facebook and YouTube viewers, I want to add on to the ways that you can support the center that Rahana discussed. And if you are a professional in our area and you'd like to provide professional in-kind services to the DC Center, you can reach out to our operations staff or our executive director. Because we want to ensure that we can provide all the services that are necessary to our constituents and to our employees and board. So as a professional, if you would like to provide some in-kind professional services, that is another way that you can give back to the center as well.
And to piggyback on to what Tiara has said, we do have a community partnership program in which if a company or what have you would like to provide services, pro bono, things of that nature, we are open and definitely willing to talk about what we can do to reciprocate and to create a partnership with ourselves and that particular company or organization or individual offering those services. So yes, you can definitely reach myself, and we'll definitely make sure everyone who's watching has our email addresses and things of that nature. And you can always find us at thedcenter.org.
Thank you. While we wait a moment to see if more questions come in, I just wanted to say that the time that I've spent volunteering with the DC Center has been incredibly rewarding. It's been a wonderful chance to connect with other people in the community, make new friends, and just over and over again, when I get the newsletter of what's happening at the DC Center, I'm so surprised by how many different things can be on the horizon and how much is going on. Even during the pandemic, when sometimes my world has felt very small, there's always been a lot of really wonderful things happening at the DC Center and a lot of chances to connect with people that I might not have gotten to meet otherwise. So if anyone who's watching this is thinking about volunteering, I really recommend it. It's great.
Thank you for saying that, Anna.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone knows, the center team is, as I mentioned, is a very small and mighty team, and we literally would be like lacking without amazing volunteers like yourself. We are substantially volunteer driven and very, very grateful and appreciative of all of your work and dedication and care that you've given to us and to obviously all of our LGBTQ siblings. But yeah, it's wonderful to have all the volunteers that we have helping us help the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, the staff at the DC Center, you keep saying small but mighty, and the DC Center really makes it as easy as anyone possibly could, even during the pandemic. The response was immediate to move to keep everyone safe, but keep the support there. And during the pandemic, moving the peer support groups virtual has allowed so many more people to come that might not have been able to come before. And it's not ideal. It's wonderful to see people in person, but there's been people who have come that live far enough away that it'd be really hard to get into DC on a weeknight, or live much further away and it would be physically impossible to get to DC at all. Or people that there's physical barriers for them to get to an in-person peer support group. So it's it's been wonderful to have the DC Center still there as a constant throughout this whole really difficult time.
Before we go, Anna, I want to thank you very much for your leadership and stepping up to serve as moderator as we communicate with our community about the efforts and plans as the DC Center begins to open up or plans to open up. I appreciate what you do for the DC Center as a volunteer and what you do for our community as a whole. So on behalf of the Board of Directors of the DC Center, I want to say thank you directly to you, Anna.
Thank you.
You're here.
Thank you. I don't think that we have any more questions coming in right now. So as we draw toward a close, does anyone else have anything that they would like to add?
Just want to say that I've been volunteering at the center for almost 6-7 years now, and it's probably one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. So please consider volunteering, getting involved, or even just walking in now that we're open and meeting the team, because they are small and mighty, but they're also have really awesome hearts. So free to talk to them whenever you can. And thank you, Jackie, for the interpretation tonight.
And yes, we are a low barrier space, so you can just walk in and, as I mentioned before, meet a welcoming smile and someone who is absolutely 100% equipped and ready and there to offer the care and support and resources. And if we don't have them, we will make sure that you don't walk out the door without knowing where to go to get them. I've been with the center since 2014 in a variety of capacities, and fully 100% believe in who we are and what we do. And I'm just absolutely excited that we're going to be able to get back into in-person as best as possible to be able to continue upholding, uplifting, and empowering our LGBTQ siblings to live their best life as best as we can. So www.thedccenter.org 202-682-2245. I don't call the phone line very often. And my personal email for the DC Center is Kimberly, spelled KIMBERLEY @thedccenter.org.